What's up, gamers? The Red Dragon here, and I am back giving you the news on the front page of VGN. Got a story featured here that I really had to look at my calendar to make sure that it was the year 2013, because this story sounds like something that would have happened decades ago or even centuries ago. You know, we're talking Dark Ages stuff here, or maybe I'm just overreacting. But here's the story. In Connecticut, where the elementary school shooting took place, a small town about 30 miles away from that, they got together and they wanted to come up and do something that could help their community as well as surrounding communities. So they have an organization here that combines a lot of different other areas. They've got the Chamber of Commerce, the YMCA, Board of Education, Fire Department, town officials, United Way, and local clergy. They have come up with a plan to help their community. Their plan to have people bring in violent video games. What they're going to do is take them up, break them, and then incinerate them. Basically, a modern day book burning. And if you know your history, if you know anything about burnings, whether it's witch burnings or book burnings, you know that most burnings take place in order to stop dissent, in order to stop free thought, radical art, or political reform. I mean, there's so many instances of this taking place. If you go all the way back to like 200 BC, China, their emperor tried to burn all the documents because he thought if he did this, he could just totally erase history, and history would actually begin with him. If you look at Nazi Germany, Nazis brought up and tried to gather up the Jewish writings of people and tried to have a big bonfire with that in order to eradicate it. Back in the 50s, there was a senator who was looking for all types of communism books that he could find in order to burn those. There's so many instances of this, and in every one, burnings are never a good thing. But this is what this town has decided to do. They've decided to focus on violent video games in order to help their community. This is just really radical in my mind, and maybe I'm just overreacting, and maybe I'm looking at it in a different light than other people are, but I just really think this is a bad idea. Because one, what are you going to accomplish? You're not going to accomplish nothing whatsoever, nothing, unless you're going to hurt the environment by putting up who knows what into the air by incinerating these things. But on the flip side, what are you sending a message to, or who are you sending a message to? And it goes back to this culture that we live in, which is just devoured in fear-mongering. And it's like you turn on the news and it's nothing but fear-mongering. They're telling you about every act of violence that's happened. They're telling you about every case of thievery that's taken place. And so they've got people so scared that they don't even want to leave their house. And now what they're going to do is try to scare you in your own home by saying, hey, you got to watch out for your kids because they're in the back there playing those video games. Now, these organizers who are doing this, they're saying, hey, look, you know, we're not focusing on the destroying part. That's just part of it. What we're wanting to say we're focusing on is trying to get a dialogue between parents and their kids. Well, that's great. I'm all for that. I'm all for parents knowing what their kids are playing, knowing what's happening with their kids and talking to them and discussing that with them. But can't you try to do that? Can't you try to get parents to interact with their kids, be more close-knit than having a basic modern-day book burning? To me, that just doesn't make any sense. So what they've done is they've got together and they've formed this program. It's called the, quote, Violent Video Games Return Program, and this is going on January 12th. You'll be able to go down to your local drive-in theater there if you live in this town and be able to turn in your violent video games, and in return they're going to give you a $25 gift voucher, which they say is intended to be used for other forms of entertainment. Perhaps the water park is what they mention. So they say that it's not just limited to violent video games, even though that's what they're calling the program. They say you can also turn in your violent music, I guess, or violent movies. They did not, however, mention books, which I find ironic. I guess they didn't want you to compare it to a modern day book burning, but that's what I compare it to. So I'm not sure if you can turn in your books or not. Somebody might want to try, you know, going down there, see if you can turn in a Bible or something and see if they'll give you a $25 voucher. But either way, if you do have an old video game, you know what? if they're going to act like barbarians, if they're going to come up with something so ridiculous as this, I say take advantage of them, because you've probably got some old games in the closet that you're not going to get very much money of if you sell them or if you go trade them in. So I say, you know, go take down a game down there, maybe Mario, because if you're jumping on turtles, I mean, that's violent. Or maybe you have an old football game, because if you're tackling people, that's not very nice. So that's a form of violence. If I go tackle somebody in Walmart, they're probably going to arrest me. But I say take them for all they got. If they want to give you a voucher for a crappy old game that you're not playing anymore, then go turn it in and tell them how silly this idea is, because nothing says end violence like a good old-fashioned burning. So if you want to hear more about real research, if you want to hear more about the studies that have been done, check out my other video that I've done where I go in depth showing you the correlation between real world violence and video game violence, and then, you know, maybe we can figure something out. You want to talk to your kids, you want to start up a conversation, you can do that without going back to the dark ages. So that does it for me, The Red Dragon. Post your comments below, let me know what you think about this story. Do you think a video game burning is going to accomplish anything? Post your comments below, let me know what you think, and I will see you next time. That does it for me, The Red Dragon. Be sure you check out the links in the description box for the full story, and also VGN, videogamesandnews.com. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.